Hey guys, it's Amy from raisingarrows.net, and if you've been following my journey through having my diastasis recti repaired, you know that I have 10 kids, and most of them were pretty big babies, and so my stomach muscles split apart, and I ended up with a 10 plus gap in my muscles, and then a lot of excess skin and all of that. And so on November 30th, I had it repaired. I am now 4 days post-op. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about pain and what I expected and what really it was like, and some of the things that surprised me and some of the things that were exactly what I thought they were going to be. I was probably most scared, well, two things: the pain, and then also messing up anything that the doctor had done and having this be all for naught, because this was a pretty major surgery. I was under for about 3.5 hours, and there was just a lot that had to be repaired because I had a huge bulge and then a lot of skin that had to be removed. So I knew going into it that there was going to be a level of pain, but I kept trying to tell myself that it might be just as bad as the worst C-section I'd ever had. I have had 4 C-sections, and the worst one I had was my New Year's baby, and I had been in labor with him for something like 17 hours and then pushed for about 4 and then had a C-section, and it was very not comfortable. And so I kind of thought, well, maybe it'll be like that. And there were some aspects to that C-section, like severe constipation from the meds and lower back pain and all of that, that I really kind of thought would be the case with this, that this would be very similar perhaps. But I kind of in the back of my head was thinking it actually may be way worse. And when I was researching online, which, was all I did for the last few days before surgery, I kept running across, people who had never had surgery. And I thought, well, I can't really go by what they say because, first of all, they've never had a C-section or any sort of major surgery. And so how do they really know what that pain is like? And then I also ran across people who said it was worse than a C-section, and other people who said it was better than their C-section. And then there was the same thing with hysterectomies and stuff like that. And so I didn't really know what to expect, but I was kind of hoping that it would be about that level of pain, because while it was bad, it I mean, there were days where it was really, really bad, and then days where it wasn't. So I can definitively tell you now, 4 days post-op, that it's not the same as a C-section. It was definitely worse. That first day was definitely worse. From there on out, it was just different. But the first day was excruciating. I could hardly get up. My husband and one of the nurses would always help me get up. So it was about 24 hours of me not able to get up on my own. And that's a little different from what I heard online too. There were some women who 3-4 days post-op, they were still needing help to get up. For me, I think because I have done the tummy team and Fit to Be, I knew how to move my body to protect my core. Because I've had such a loosey-goosey core for so long, and I've taken these classes where I know how to get myself to the edge of the bed. I know how to roll over slightly and to not jackknife straight up. I know all that stuff. And so maybe that's why I was able to more easily get up without help. I don't know. But initially, yes, absolutely horrible pain. And I was on narcotics and ibuprofen, and there were times when it just didn't seem to even touch it. The bulk majority of the pain was in the that first day at least, in that actual incision, the interior incision that was pulling my muscles together. They were sewed very tightly. I did not feel pain so much in my actual muscles. It was that stitching straight down the center that hurt. And then the incision really didn't hurt. I later on, like here today and yesterday, it hurt a little bit, but it's really not been too bad. It's been more that center stitching. So that was different from what I expected, because even with the C-section, I would need help to get up, but it wasn't excruciating pain. It was just different. I also had expected to have the shoulder pain that you have when you have a C-section. Those of you who've had a C-section know that when they cut you open, air gets trapped in your body, and you end up with severe pain in your shoulders. And I expected that to be the case, but I don't know if because they didn't open up an actual organ, that was why I didn't end up with that pain. But typically pain meds don't even touch that pain. You just have to deal with it for like an hour to 2 hours, and it's awful. Now, I do have shoulder pain, and that's from a couple of different reasons. It wasn't the same kind though. This has happened here in the last couple of days. So the shoulder pain that I'm having is from trying to maneuver my body very carefully, and then also from this chair. I thought this chair was going to be a really great thing. It's a lift chair. However, it hits me at the wrong spot. And I'm really short, and I'm very short-waisted. So I don't know if that's the deal. For a long time, while I was still pretty loopy, there was a pillow behind my back. I don't even know how that pillow got there. I think somebody must have thought that was a good idea and I would want that pillow there, but it ended up causing me an immense amount of shoulder pain right about here. And so my daughter has had to kind of rub on my neck. I also think I'm a little bit tense, and so that's all kind of manifesting itself in my neck and shoulders. The other pain that I have been feeling that I wasn't quite expecting was nausea from the meds. So I have to eat every single time I take a pain pill. If I don't, I end up feeling horrible. Excuse me. I also feel I'm not as hoarse as I was the other day, but I still am kind of weird feeling up here in my head. So I find myself having trouble sometimes forming all of the words that I need to say, and walking, I am starting to feel a little bit more down in the incision area. I do try to get up and walk several times a day. We live in a ranch style house, so I walk from one end to the other. I get pretty winded, and I can't do a lot, but I have found that having good strength in my legs has really allowed for me to do more than I thought I would be able to do. So being able to push myself out of bed or out of the chair. Now that I'm home, I'm not in a bed. The only time I slept in a bed was in the hospital. Since going to the hotel and then now home, I have slept in a recliner. I just don't feel like I can get in and out of our beds comfortably. I don't know when I will try that again, but that just sounds too painful at this point. And that's kind of what I have done even after C-sections and things like that. I prefer to be in a recliner rather than a bed. As far as other pain, there really hasn't been a lot of other pain. It's been, like I said, mostly in the interior incisions and then in the exterior incision a little bit. The drain at this point does not hurt. My husband changed out the dressings and thought that everything looked pretty good there. The binder itself, I have taken it off twice, and I like it being on. I do feel much more secure with it on. I had a few little like popping feelings, sensations yesterday, some little nerve twinges here and there, and that was a little scary. I hadn't read anything about that, so I thought I'd mention that here, that I did have some little twinges in my belly that felt very strange to me, but I think it's just all that healing process, and there's probably more of that to come that I just really wasn't expecting there. So the other thing that I did not expect was I did not expect to be feeling this good this soon. Like I said, I haven't needed anybody to help me up since that first day. I feel pretty good as long as I'm taking it easy. Like I said, I walk a little bit, but I don't do a ton of walking. I can't eat very much. If I eat too much, my stomach hurts. So I've got this like constant balance I'm trying to reach, where I try to eat something with my meds, but then I can't eat too much because then my stomach feels distended and that hurts. I had another blogger friend who had this done a few years ago tell me that even to this day she cannot eat as much as she used to because that's all so much tighter there. So I am surprised by how much better I feel. And that's where the catch-22 comes in, because I did notice today especially, I got up and I was walking to the other end of the house and I saw something on the floor. And there was this moment where I thought, oh, I should pick that up. And then I went, no, I'm not supposed to do that. But it's tempting to just reach down. Like, for instance, the other thing with this lift chair that cracked me up was that I never took into account that a lift chair stands all the way up and everything that you had sitting there falls off. Well, I'm not supposed to pick any of that stuff up. So the first time I let the lift chair go all the way up, like, it dumped off my pen, my paper, my phone, my pillow, everything just fell on the floor, and I had to go call somebody to come help me get all that stuff up off the floor. I am planning on getting some of those, that long pincher thing, you know, where you can just grab things up off the floor like that, but I haven't gotten one of those yet, but that will be super handy. So I have not been letting my lift chair go all the way up. I have an end table next to me here, and I try to set everything there and then put the lift chair almost to where it's starting to stand up, and then kind of scooch myself to the edge very carefully and use the muscles in my arms and my legs to help me stand upright. And then just try to avoid doing anything extra, because that's part of this healing process, is just teaching yourself not to do all those things that you always did mindlessly. You really do have to take it easy. I've kind of holed up here in the bedroom because I go out there and I see all these things that need to be done. And the kids are doing a really good job of taking care of the usual chores that they have. But, you know, I'm a mom, I'm a supervisor. I always find other things that could be done. And so going out there too often, I tend to be like, oh, you need to do that and that and that. And then I'm just a person who just goes ahead and does a lot of the stuff. And I have to train myself not to do that. So far, as far as the pain goes, I'm feeling pretty good. I am down to 1 Percocet every 4 hours and an ibuprofen 800 milligrams every 8 hours. So that's what I'm taking currently. That I just started today, post-op day 4. And I anticipate here as this week goes on that potentially I will be able to get off the Percocet. Percocet and Amy do not mix well. It tends to just knock me out and make me really loopy and say things that are really strange and not remember anything. Even 800 milligram ibuprofen does that to me. So, because I just don't take a lot of meds. So it's kind of a weird place for me to be. I don't want to hurt, but I also don't want to be that loopy. So I'm just going to play it by ear, see what I can do over the next few days and see where I'm at pain-wise. And I can definitely tell that I still absolutely need the Percocet, but I'm hoping here within the next few days that healing will be more sufficient and I can just use the ibuprofen. But we shall see. I will give you guys all an update after my doctor's appointment on Thursday. That'll be 6 days post-op, and see what the surgeon has to say, and hopefully maybe even have some new photos for you. I do have a lot of swelling, but you can definitely still see that there is a huge difference between pre-op and post-op. So I will see you later with another update. Thanks for watching all of these. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. This is not all I talk about, obviously, but I do typically talk about large family home type of things, and this is one of those things that a lot of large family moms are dealing with. So I'd love to have you as a subscriber and get to know you better. So we'll see you later.